from Tampa Bay streaming news leader, this is ABC Action News, taking action for you.
A 15-year-old boy died a hero, and now Florida deputies say they know who killed him in his own home. New at 6, what that suspect was found with moments after the murder.
And we want to get to some breaking news first, though. You're looking at live pictures of a car that crashed into a popular hot dog restaurant.
This is Mel's Hot Dogs on Bush Boulevard, not far from Busch Gardens. We're making calls right now to find out if anyone was hurt in this crash. You can see the front window there of that business has been blown out there and a lot of debris on the ground. Our live reporter also on scene working to gather more information. Stay tuned for that.
It was unheard of for me, and I've been with the sheriff's office 21 years.
All new at 6 now, an ABC Action News exclusive. A sex offender accused of using the popular Bible app to target teenage girls at a Hillsborough County church. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Wendy Ryan.
And I'm Jameson Euler. Our Isabel Rosales, the only reporter to uncover the disturbing allegations and the observant churchgoer who put a stop to it.
It is the last app where parents should worry about their child potentially facing danger. But it is on the YouVersion Bible app where a Hillsborough County sex offender is accused of secretly reaching out to teen girls. The Bible app touts being on more than 350 million devices worldwide. But according to Hillsborough County deputies, 50-year-old registered sex offender Douglas Kersey used it to befriend teen girls at a church youth group.
There's a world of nasty people who want your children, and open platforms give them an open door to them.
Reverend Russell Meyer heads 2 Lutheran churches. Neither are involved. Detective Teresa Grooms worked the case.
You have young ladies that are meeting in a youth group to study the Bible, and you have a registered sex offender who is projecting himself into that group.
HCSO will not name the church those girls attended.
This is the first time I've heard of it's being used in this kind of sexual predatory kind of way.
It was an observant churchgoer who tipped off law enforcement, concerned at the young girls Kersey kept friending on the Bible app.
She's a hero. To me, she's the real hero.
She Googled Kersey's name and discovered his history. In 2013, he spent nearly 3 years in prison for illegally communicating with minors.
Be aware, check their social media, check their phones, check their email addresses, check their friends.
Too often we hear about something terrible that happened to a child, and it was too late.
HCSO is looking into whether he used any other apps to communicate with minors. In Hillsborough County, I'm Isabel Rosales, ABC Action News.
The state attorney's office just ruled a man died accidentally while Pinellas deputies were trying to question him this summer. The sheriff says those deputies were looking for an assault suspect and stopped Baudilio Velasquez because he matched the description. Velasquez did not speak English and ran off, so a deputy tased him, causing Velasquez to fall and hit his head. The sheriff says Velasquez was tased some more because he resisted arrest.
What are you supposed to do when somebody runs from you? What are you supposed to do, say bye? When somebody was, again, a suspect, where there's blood on the ground, somebody's claimed they've been injured, and they fit the description of to a T. What are we supposed to do, just let them go?
The sheriff says the 911 call that started all this about a possible assault turned out to be fake. That caller was arrested.
A St. Pete bar says it's reopening and making changes after some customers said they ended up with some skin rashes. Take a look here. We've been following up on the Pelican Pub since Tuesday when we first broke this story on our website. And for the very first time, we're hearing from a woman who says this happened to her.
Pretty emotionally and physically taxing. It was worrisome and stressful and just a crazy whirlwind. I've never been through anything like this.
The Pelican Pub says from now on, any place where people could sit will be cleaned with soap and water instead of bleach and water. Just yesterday, crews removed a bench where the health department found 2 bed bugs. The bar says the health department just gave them a clean bill of health. Dennis?
Yeah, Wendy, things looking pretty good out there so far. So good in terms of rain or lack thereof. A couple of showers trying to pop up right along I-75 in northern Pasco, southern Hernando County. But otherwise, it's all about the heat. And now, we're only about a half hour away from sunset. So remember, even though it isn't dark, the kids are out. Be extra careful. You know how they're darting in and out of parked cars along the street. And it's very difficult to see them, especially when you're right at about sunset. Temperatures right now across the area in the middle 80s. And there's a look at Futurecast about 10:30 or 11 o'clock. The leading edge of the showers come in from that front that we've been promising now for the last several days. Now, out ahead of it, There will be a few more isolated showers this evening, certainly not too many, but it is possible 1 or 2 stray showers. Otherwise, on Friday, you're going to wake up to more clouds and you're going to notice the cooler air rolling on in. But this evening, nothing cool at all about this forecast. We stay warm and humid with just a couple of showers and temperatures in the 80s.
All right, thanks, Dennis. We'll check back with you. New tonight, we're seeing the face of the man charged with killing a 15-year-old boy during a home invasion just last month. The Charlotte County Sheriff says Ryan Cole broke into Kyler Edmonds' home at random. And investigators say Edmond died protecting his 5-year-old sister. We're told someone saw Cole acting suspicious in a neighborhood near Edmonds' house around the time of the murder. And he had a stab wound when deputies took him into custody.
We're taking a closer look at the past of a woman accused of neglecting her 9-year-old daughter so badly the girl died. New at 6, we're learning the sheriff's office looked into multiple complaints about Elizabeth Markley, one the same month her daughter died. ABC Action News reporter Haley Bull is pressing investigators for answers tonight.
When Highlands County investigators learned about the death of a 9-year-old girl, they spent hundreds of hours investigating.
It's heartbreaking.
Resulting in the arrest of her mother, Elizabeth Markley, for neglect resulting in great bodily harm.
Her daughter was born with a congenital heart defect, a complex congenital heart defect, and also didn't have a spleen. So she needed to be regularly seen by doctors. She needed to take medications on a daily basis.
But investigators say Markley missed cardiologist appointments and wasn't filling her daughter's prescriptions, including antibiotics. They say her daughter got sick February 23rd, but it wasn't until days later Markley brought her to the hospital where the 9-year-old girl passed away.
The cases that were called in were general welfare for all of the children.
ABC Action News learned the sheriff's office investigated multiple complaints of neglect against Markley from 2014 to as recent as the same month her daughter died, that time for a concern the kids were home alone.
There was one complaint where somebody was concerned about this child not necessarily getting the medical attention that she needed, and we went out there and interviewed with DCF.
But in all the cases, investigators say they found nothing criminal.
We did what we were supposed to do. You know, we went out and checked to make sure that these children weren't being criminally abused or neglected. I can't speak to what DCF's policies are.
In Highlands County, Haley Bull, ABC Action News.
We've reached out to DCF to see what records they have on file, but have not heard back yet.
A pivotal step forward today in the impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump. The House has passed a resolution that moves the investigation into a public phase. Up until now, the investigation into the president's dealings with Ukraine have largely taken place behind closed doors. And the president has denied any wrongdoing. Meanwhile, today's vote was largely along party lines, with Republicans unanimously voting against the measure. Public hearings are expected to start in mid-November.
Bringing film back to Florida. A bill just filed in the House would create a statewide incentive program that would attract filmmakers here to Florida. Advocates say these tax breaks could lure some big budget movie projects and jobs to Florida, but there's been a lot of debate about who should be responsible for creating them. And that's an issue we've explored as well as part of our Full Circle series with an in-depth story. You can watch them all on abcactionnews.com/Full Circle or on demand on our free streaming apps.
New tonight, Pasco County deputies say this holiday man is accused of trading child porn for gift cards. Deputies say the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children tipped them off about Charles Oberdorf. They were able to link his phone number and email address to explicit images uploaded to the internet. We're told Oberdorf admitted to everything to detectives once they searched his home. A black market rideshare service gaining popularity here in the Bay Area and across Florida. One whistleblower who was driving for Lyft contacted our I-Team investigator, Katie Lagrone, to warn others about these risky off-the-book rides.
Are these stealing business from you?
No, I don't think so.
So what's the big deal with them?
It's the consumer safety. We go through a background check. We go through all these extra protections. You don't know if the person you're getting into has a criminal record, is a registered sex offender. You don't know this.
Our I-Team dug into the records for some of these unauthorized drivers and found criminal arrests and traffic tickets. Tonight at 11, how this black market works and what the state agency regulating ride-sharing has to say about it.
You may notice more colorful art splashed around Tampa in the coming months. The first edition of the mayor's new Art on the Block initiative is this mural at Al Barnes Park. It honors the park's namesake, a pioneering educator who spent 40 years with Hillsborough County Schools. In 1965, he became one of the first black teachers transferred to an all-white school. He later served on the school board.
It's something that will live on for generations in this community, keeping Coach Barnes' memory alive, which is so, so important. And again, being that lesson for the young kids in the community that there are heroes among them.
Mayor Jane Castor says she hopes pieces like this will make art more accessible for everyone throughout the city.
The HOA approved their driveway, but then threatened to take a local family to court over it. The answers those homeowners are finally getting after more than a year. Jameson?
And Wendy, this mom thought she'd never be able to have kids, but she gave birth without even knowing she was pregnant. How an operation from last year led to this life-changing surprise. Dennis?
Yeah, Jameson, boy, we've got a lot of heat out there, but so far so good. Just a couple of isolated showers in Pasco County. I'll let you know what that cold front has in store for us, not just tonight, but right through the weekend coming up.
And we're also staying on top of that breaking news. We now know no one was injured when a car slammed into a popular hot dog restaurant. The front of Mel's Hot Dogs on Bush Boulevard in Tampa was blown out when a car went into that building around 5 o'clock this afternoon. You can see all that damage there. Mel's has been open for nearly 50 years. It's certainly a landmark. And as we get more information, we'll bring it to you on air and in push alerts on our free mobile app. We'll be right back.
Right now, Tampa police are looking for the people who killed a couple at their home this morning. Family members say Stanley Peck and Tia Pittman's children were steps away when someone started shooting on Walnut Street. The family says the couple recently had their second child, and they just moved back to Tampa because Peck's father had cancer.
Whoever did this, it made no sense to do them like that. Like, they was good people.
Tampa police are going through the home for evidence, but at this point, they don't have a motive for the shooting.
Hillsborough County deputies say an unusual case of illegal dumping could have cost taxpayers if they did not act quickly. I want you to take a look here. They say Michael Augustin dumped these bottles of acid on county-owned property in Riverview earlier this month. We're told he also left behind construction materials and buckets of paint. But deputies say it's the corrosive acid that was the biggest danger. And if it had spilled into the soil, it could have damaged the environment and cost even more money to clean up.
Pasco County family is now getting answers after a fight with her HOA over this driveway dragged on for more than a year. New at 6, ABC Action News reporter Heather Lee shows us the mistakes the HOA is now admitting to after we reached out.
It's been a chaotic year for Amy Ford and her family. Ford says 2 years ago, the Community Association for Foxwood at Trinity told homeowners they couldn't park their cars in the street without a permit. She and her husband put thousands of dollars aside to expand their driveway.
We do have a lot of kids, and 5 of them are teens, so we knew they were going to be driving eventually.
After hiring a contractor and getting the plans approved by the HOA Modifications Committee, which they drew up based on another house down the street, the driveway was installed. Nearly a year later, she was told the driveway didn't meet HOA standards. Ford says the news couldn't have come at a worse time. Her mom was dying.
She passed away on Easter Eve at 10:30 p.m. and then at 4 o'clock that next morning, my brother called me from Indiana from my father's side and told me my dad had died from a heart attack that morning. So in 3 hours, I lost both of my parents. So this literally was not number one on my priority list.
The battle continued on, the HOA even attempting to take her to court over the issue. Then, as we got involved today, the HOA tells us they had already decided to drop the issue entirely, admitting the former board wasn't enforcing their own rules.
It's a great neighborhood. We chose it. It's safe. There's 910 homes in here. The schools around us are amazing. But I would love to see consistency on every aspect.
The board changed members in April of this year and began stepping up their rule enforcement. They've sent a statement. We've posted it to abcactionnews.com. Heather Lee, ABC Action News.
Well, a Florida woman got an unexpected surprise after going through weight loss surgery. Just last year, Daria Yakwak had gastric sleeve surgery to remove more than half of her stomach. But in August, she ended up in excruciating pain. And it turns out she was 35 weeks pregnant and had no idea.
All the other symptoms like heartburn and gas pain and bloat, they just attributed to my surgery because those are the symptoms. I'm so happy to be a mama. She's a great little baby girl.
How about that? Yagwek says she was totally shocked. She has polycystic ovary syndrome, which can make it quite difficult for women to conceive anyway. But sure enough, she gave birth 9 hours after waking up with that back pain. And as you can see, the whole family is doing great. Congratulations to them.
A lot of families out tonight trick-or-treating, and it's going to be a hot one.
Yeah, it is mid-80s, a lot of humidity, but at least the only showers, and there's one or two out there in northern Pasco, southern Hernando, but really not too much. Most of us will be dry, except, of course, drenched in sweat with the chasing after the kids, going from house to house. I think we've all gone through it. You look outside at the mainsail at the beach. Things are beautiful along the coast. A little bit of cloud cover building in off to the northwest, and as we head into later on tonight into tomorrow morning, we will see a few more showers popping up around there. And there's the only rain that's showing up right now on Titan Doppler radar.